Hey everyone, Mitchell Gould here, and in today's video we're going to go over LinkedIn ads retargeting. This is going to be a complete course on everything you need to know, from setting up a LinkedIn ads account all the way to creating your campaign, naming conventions, setting up conversion tracking. It's all going to be in here. So just to recap the goal of LinkedIn ads retargeting, we want to stay in front of users who have previously engaged with our website, build trust with them, and ultimately drive conversions. So the content that we're going to cover, again, is going to be complete A to Z, everything you need to know about retargeting. I'm first going to go over the slides I have. So I have over 40 slides here, and it's going to cover all the components. And you can use the chapters below to skip ahead to different sections and check out different sections as needed. But I'm first going to go through the slides, and then I'm going to go into the actual campaign creation, setting up the insight tag, each of those things after. I think it'll be a little more streamlined instead of hopping back and forth between slides and campaign manager. So first I'll go through everything on the slides, and then we'll go into the account and build everything. So we're going to start off with a few retargeting notes, go over a high level framework, then go into some of the more tactical granular stuff as far as like what the insight tag does, how to set it up, some notes on conversion tracking, ads, ad copy, and then again go through and actually build everything out in Campaign Manager. So a few notes on this. Again, use the chapters below to skip ahead to particular sections. You can leave any questions or feedback in the comment section. I'll get back to everyone. So just if you have any questions, just put them down there. And if you're interested in this type of content, so LinkedIn ads, B2B marketing, I also do things on Google search ads, consider subscribing. I'm going to continue to build out longer videos like this on this channel. And in the comment section, if you have a particular area you're curious about, go ahead and drop that in there too. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So retargeting on LinkedIn, the goal here is we're going to set up a retargeting website visitor audience that we're going to show ads to those users. So this is particularly good if you have traffic coming to your website already. So maybe you're running Google ads, maybe you have a lot of organic search traffic, you have an email newsletter and a lot of people click into your website, maybe you have a strong paid social following and people visit your website. We're going to use the LinkedIn Insight tag and set that up on our website and then create these retargeting audiences. And with LinkedIn ads, you can further qualify that traffic. So you can qualify it based off of your ideal customer profile and the persona. So maybe it's particular job titles, industry. You can then qualify that website traffic, and then we can show ads to them while they're on LinkedIn. So that's the whole goal with this. And a few notes on retargeting. So in LinkedIn ads, the minimum audience size that you need to run ads is at least 300 members. So if you have a smaller website and you're only getting a handful of visits each month, you're going to need to first drive traffic to your website another way. So maybe that's through Google search. Maybe you need to continue work on building your organic SEO content so you have enough people to actually retarget to. So this is going to be good for people that already have some established traffic, and we can create those retargeting audiences. In website visitor retargeting audiences, they start gathering data from the day they are created and don't include past data. So once you create your retargeting audience, it's going to begin to fill that bucket and fill that audience up, and it's not going to be retroactive. And you can retarget all website visitors. If you have a lot of traffic to a particular page, maybe a services page, a pricing page, you can also create retargeting audiences for specific pages. And like I mentioned, the great thing about LinkedIn ads is you can further qualify that retargeting audience. So you can narrow that audience down based off of LinkedIn audience attributes that you can target. So job title, company size, and make sure you're only putting ads in front of the website visitors that are the most likely to purchase or make a decision in the future. And in this particular video, we're going to be focusing on the website visitors retargeting audience. There are other retargeting audiences, which I'll cover below, that you can also target. So if they previously engaged with another ad on LinkedIn, so maybe right now you're running video ads, you can retarget people based off of the percentage of the video ad that they watch. Target people that watch 50% of your video or 75% of your video. You can also retarget people that visited your LinkedIn company page. So there's other options, but in this video, we're going to focus on website visitors retargeting. And an important note is that audiences can get archived and stop collecting data if they're not used in an active campaign in the last 30 days. So if you create your retargeting audiences, but you don't associate it with a campaign, after 30 days, it's going to get archived and stop collecting data. So if your plan is to create a retargeting audience and maybe use it in a few months, you might come back and notice that it got archived and it stopped collecting data. So there are some workarounds for this. The best one that I have found is to run text ads to your retargeting audience, which have really low click-through rates and don't cost a lot. So you can keep your audiences from not getting archived and continue gathering that data. So here's the retargeting framework that we're going to use. We're going to end up creating 3 campaigns. So 2 that use the website visits objective, and then 1 that uses the LinkedIn lead gen objective. And we're going to be targeting our website visitors retargeting audience. And the first campaign is going to have the text ad format. The second campaign is going to use a single image ad. And the third one is going to use a single image ad. But when you click on that, it's going to natively pull up a lead gen form within LinkedIn. And this is just some content that you can use in your ad. So we're going to be using a mix of social proof. You can use your key services. You could put a more conversion focused offer in front of your retargeting audience. But this is going to be the framework that we're going to follow. And as far as some other retargeting content ideas, really you want to re-engage your audience by sharing relevant, valuable content that's going to suit them. So if they just visited your website and maybe they're going to be interested in your product or service. So some good things that you can do to push and build your credibility and trust is to put client testimonials in front of that audience. You could also do things like case studies. So if you have good client results that you can share, performance highlights, you can create ads around that. You can have a more conversion focused ad that's has the offer to get a demo, try it free, book a call, etc. You can have product demos and highlights. So if you're a SaaS brand, you can showcase your product. You can also showcase your service in action as well. Maybe a how-to explaining how you approach different things. Thought leadership is really great to show your expertise and insights in your industry. You can also use thought leader ads. Again, we're going to focus on these 3 ad formats, but I'm going to show in later slides all the available ad formats that you can use. You can also share educational info, webinars, news releases, special offers. So all these things are to re-engage the people that already visited your website. And again, build trust, build credibility, and then push a conversion focus call to action in front of them. So just to go over the different campaign objectives and ad formats, there are 8 different objectives within LinkedIn ads. There's awareness, category, consideration, and conversion. From what I do in my experience, most of the ones that I typically use are in the consideration phase, as well as the lead gen, which is in the conversion phase here. So website visits is going to optimize for getting people to visit your website. Engagement is going to optimize to having people interact with your ad. So reacting with it, leaving a like, sharing with it, and engaging with it. Video views is going to optimize for people most likely to watch a video ad. And the lead gen objective is going to try to optimize to get people to fill out a lead gen form on LinkedIn. And each of these objectives have different ad formats available within them. So I have this grid here. Again, we have the awareness, consideration, and conversion categories, and you can see all the different objectives. And then on the left-hand side, you can see all the ad formats are available, and I have a check mark if it's available for that objective. So as you can see in video views, the only ad format that's available within that objective is video. So if you're setting up a campaign and you select the video view objective, the only ad format option you're going to see is the video. And if you're setting up example for engagement, you'll see all these different ad formats: single image ads, document ads, carousel ads, conversation ads. Again, in here, we're going to be focusing on text ads and single image ads, but there are other formats that you can mix into your strategy. So now I'm going to go into a few examples of the ad formats that we're going to set up later in this video. So first are text ads. These only show on desktop devices, and they show on the right-hand side when you're on LinkedIn on your desktop. So as you can see here, they're made up of a small square image, a headline, and a description. And if you click the text ad, you can have it direct to a landing page to a URL that you choose. So here's some more examples of text ads. You can see here, this one says our testimonials. It has their logo, and they have a little small text here about a testimonial. Here's some different examples. These are really great as they don't have a high click-through rate. So if you set up the campaign the right way, which I'll show you, you'll get a lot of impressions and you won't get a lot of clicks. So your logo will be showing in front of people, or the image that you show, and they won't be clicking it. So you get a lot of impressions for very low cost. I've seen, tens of thousands of impressions for less than, $20 over a few month period. So they're a really good ad format. And then single image ads, these are the most common that you'll see in your LinkedIn feed. So as you're scrolling your LinkedIn feed on desktop and mobile, they consist of introductory text at the top, and then the image, a headline, and a call to action. So a few different examples here. These are more on, trust credibility style single image ads. So you can see here we have some social proof, which is always good to include, especially when you're retargeting people, to show your trust and your credibility. So they have, 5 stars here, a mention that they're top rated. We have Bamboo HR that has the G2 reviews 2024. They have the get a free demo, so a stronger conversion call to action layered on there. And then we have Comport over here, where they have 6 different testimonials with the people's image, their title, the testimonial. So again, just showing that social proof, building that trust. So here's some additional single image ads. And I like this first one. This is a good example of, showing proof of performance, showing how you can achieve results for your clients. And then the second one here is more of an incentive offer. So it's a gift card incentive. So if you take a demo, they're going to send you a $150 Starbucks card. This can be helpful to get people who are kind of on the fence, or maybe not really in market, to kind of make that leap and schedule a demo. I've tested this out with some of my clients and have had it work. And then here's another example. This is more showing kind of their key services on what it does, has the requested demo. So all good examples that you could layer into your retargeting campaigns. And here's an example of a lead gen form. So the lead gen form will pop up after you click a single image ad that's using the lead gen objective. So it's going to pop up this lead gen form. It will populate with the member's profile data. So it shows my first and last name, my country, my job title, my company name. You can customize it for different fields. It's asking for a work email, so I'd have to type that in. So it's all native within LinkedIn ads. So a good place to start when you're creating your ads is to get inspiration from other advertisers, other companies. So you can use the LinkedIn ads library. If you go to linkedin.com/ad-library, and you can search for a company name or a keyword, and you can see how other people are approaching their ads, the messaging that they're using, the creatives, and use that as a starting point to draft your ads. So I always like to use that in the beginning stages when I'm creating my ads. Here are a few ad examples that I'm going to use once we get into the campaign creation process. So these are single image ads. This one has a more conversion focus, get a free audit. It's using a pain point oriented question. And then I have a testimonial here. I'm using some social proof from my Upwork profile. So top rated, 100% job success, just layering that in there. And then I'm also using 2 different colors. So it's always good to A/B test something within your ads, or to offer a few different variations. Those are a few examples that we'll use as we upload those. And then as far as ad creation, I like to use Canva. I will leave the Canva link in the description of this so you can see how these ads were built. Canva is a pretty easy drag and drop, and especially when you're getting inspiration from another ad you've already seen. Like in this example, you can see they have the logo here, some text, and then 3 of their key services here. So you can essentially copy the same format, use a different design, but this could be a good starting point, and it's all pretty easy to do within Canva. A couple things with creatives: don't overlay too much text on the creative. You can always test different things, but I would start with trying not to overdo it and add like a paragraph. Also, don't overlay URLs or phone numbers, and make sure to test different items as you run your campaign. So you can test different colors, different text, maybe taking the CTA off the ad, having it on the ad, using different images. You can rotate different things in, and we'll talk about frequency and ad fatigue later, but it's always good to have multiple variations of ads running and optimizing towards the best performing ones. Also, I have a sheet that we'll go through to draft your copy, so your headline and your descriptions for your ads, so we'll cover that later. Now for adding the LinkedIn Insight tag, so the LinkedIn Insight tag allows LinkedIn to track and understand which members have visited your website. And in this example, we're going to be using Google Tag Manager. I'm going to install that onto a WordPress website, and then we're going to add the LinkedIn Insight tag to Google Tag Manager. So the LinkedIn Insight tag is just a small snippet of code that you have to add to your website and allows LinkedIn to do the tracking. And if you're not using WordPress, or you're using a different website builder, I have a tracking playlist that you can check out. I've covered adding the Insight tag to a lot of different website builders. So Webflow, Squarespace, Wix, Duda. Go ahead and check out that playlist if you're not using WordPress. And just a note on other retargeting audiences. So this video is specifically focused on creating campaigns retargeting people that visited a website, our website. So you can see website, the option, that's what we're going to use as we create our retargeting audiences. But there are other options for creating retargeting audiences. So you can retarget people that visited your LinkedIn company page. And if you're running ads on LinkedIn already, maybe you're doing prospecting, so you're running video ads to like a cold audience, you can retarget people that have watched a percentage of the video. You can retarget people that interacted with your single image ads. So if they click the ad or if they engage with it in any way, you can retarget those people. So there are a lot of great options here, especially if you're running ads to like a cold prospecting audience, then you can retarget those people that engage with the ads. But in this video here, we're going to be focusing on the website visitors retargeting audience. And we'll go in this as we build out our campaigns, but there is the audience insight section, which is really helpful when you create your audience. It will give you some visibility into the members that make up your audience. So especially if you have a lot of data, like a lot of website visitors in your retargeting audience, say after a month of creating it, you have a lot of data there, you'll be able to see like job titles, some of the companies they make up, the industry, company sizes, and that can be helpful insights. Now, when we create our retargeting audiences, we're going to use this naming convention. So I like to use type of audience and then the page and then when they engaged. So for example, we're creating website visitors audiences based off of this. So we know that it's a website visitors audience. We're going to be creating it for all pages. But again, if you have specific pages that get a lot of traffic, like your pricing page, you can create a retargeting audience for your pricing page. And then we're going to add in when they engaged. So when you create your retargeting audiences, you can create multiple buckets for different time frames. So there are these 5 options, 14-day all the way to 180-day. And that's how long a member will stay in the audience after you create it. So say we create an audience and then someone visits our website, we create a 14-day audience. Once they visit our website, they'll stay in this audience for 14 days. On the 15th day, they'll leave that audience. So I always like to create the retargeting audiences for all these buckets. And typically, if you have a lot of website visitors, you can use these to engage with the audiences differently. So say for a 14-day audience, you can test, pushing a stronger call to action because they recently visited your website. For a 180-day audience, after they get past 90 days, 3 months, you can still stay in front of them with different ad formats and maybe, show them an ad every once in a while on LinkedIn just to stay top of mind for them. So there's different ways you can use this. But when I create retargeting audiences, I like to create them for all these buckets. And just a note on archived audiences, your audience will get archived and stop collecting members if it's not used in an active campaign in the last 30 days. So you can see the status here is archived. This can be an issue for websites that have low monthly traffic, or if you're planning to run advertising in the future and you just want to set up your retargeting audiences now. If you don't use them, they will stop collecting that member data. And again, they're not retroactive, so you'll miss out on people that visited your website. So what I like to do is I recommend creating a text ad campaign, and you target your retargeting audiences as well as another audience like a company page visitor retargeting audience, and that can typically get most clients above the 300 minimum audience size. And if you run the text ad campaign, they're a very low cost campaign. Sometimes they don't spend any money in a month because people don't typically click the text ads, and we're getting charged per click the way I set them up. So if you set it up that way, it will keep your ads, your audiences in an active campaign and prevent them from getting archived. So just a note on that. And then as far as naming conventions, when you're creating campaigns, there are 3 categories. There's a campaign group, a campaign name, and an ad. This is the naming convention I use. Really, the goal here is just to name your campaign groups, your campaign names, and your ads in a way that you understand them. So when you're navigating your account, it's not confusing. You can easily go into your account and understand what's running. That's the whole goal with this. You can name your campaigns any way you want. Just name it in a structure that makes it easy for you to organize and go through your account. And this is more important for when you have larger accounts and you're running a lot of different campaigns to just keep track of everything. So how I approach it and how we'll set it up in this example is we're going to create a retargeting campaign group. And then within that campaign group, we're going to have all our campaigns. And this is the taxonomy, the naming convention that I use. So we have the audience type. It's a retargeting audience. We'll add in the campaign objective to the naming, so we know easily when we go into the campaigns, oh, this is the lead gen campaign. We'll then put in the location targeting, so targeting the USA. We'll add in the network, so we're going to just run these on LinkedIn, not on the LinkedIn audience network. And then we'll put our audience information there, so we're going to be retargeting all visitors, everyone that visited our website in the last 90 days. And then the ad format, so a single image ad. And the only difference between the campaign name and the ad is I add on what the version of the ad is. So you can name it any way that makes sense to you. And you don't have to use this naming convention. This is just how I like to use it for managing clients and keeping track of everything. You can also use shorthand, like instead of writing single image for the type of ad format we're using, you can just do SI. So just a quick note on the naming convention. The great thing again with LinkedIn ads is that we can qualify this website visitor traffic. So we can qualify and narrow down the audience based off job titles, job functions and seniorities, company size, company industries. We can also use exclusions. So good exclusions to include in your retargeting audience as well as prospecting is if you have your current list of clients, to exclude those because you don't want to be showing ads to your existing clients in most cases. And then competitors, if you have any competitors, you can make sure to exclude them. Sometimes competitors are visiting your website. So if we exclude those competitors, avoid showing our ads to them. You can add exclusions for different industries. Staffing and recruiting is typically a good one unless that's, the vertical that you serve. Advertising services can be a good one to exclude unless it's an industry that you serve. Job seniority, so excluding anyone that's entry, training, unpaid. Anyone that's already completed a lead gen form. Again, you can create a retargeting audience based off of a lead gen form. So if they submitted a lead gen form, you can then make sure to exclude that. So you're not targeting people that already converted. And also if you have a list of like company opportunities, you can exclude those company names as well. So again, we'll go all into this once we go into the campaign build. But where you're going to do your exclusions and narrowing down your retargeting audience is using the audience attributes in the targeting section of your campaign. So this is where you can exclude or narrow down by companies, job experience, so job titles, job seniorities. There's also interests and traits. So this is just a good overview for you to understand all the attributes that are available within LinkedIn. And here are all the audience types that you can target within your campaign. So above the audience attributes section, there's this audience tab. So if you click that, there's multiple options for targeting. That's how we're going to be targeting our website visitor audience. Again, this is all in the target audience section of your campaign that we're going to go through. But you can also target a company list, a contact list. That's more on the prospecting side. And again, you can retarget people based off of how they engaged with other ads. So if they clicked a single image ad, you can retarget people based on that as well. So those are all the different match audience options there. And just a few notes on LinkedIn audience exclusions. So you can't target job title plus seniority. So just keep that in mind. You can do job function plus seniority. So if we're targeting our website visitor audience and then we narrow that on different job titles, once we narrow that audience on different job titles, we're unable to use different exclusions. So just something to keep in mind there. And here's a note on UTM parameters. We won't go deep into this, but I'll show you the ones that I typically add, and I'll show you where to add those once we're setting up our account. These are just helpful for tracking performance in other third-party analytics tools or your CRM. So if you're using Google Analytics GA4, these can be helpful to understand how people that come from LinkedIn ads are engaging with your website. Also helpful for passing info to your CRM if people go to your website and say submit a form. And for conversion tracking, we're going to be setting that up based off of a page view. So what I want you to think about is, do you have a dedicated page only people that converted land on? So if they filled out a form, do they land on a thank you page? In my example, we're going to be creating a conversion action for anyone that lands on my thank you page. So if they land on this page, I know they filled out my Calendly event to book a call. And conversion tracking is just in place to understand important actions users are taking on your website. There are other ways to set up conversion tracking, but the most simple way is to use a page view. So if they land on a particular page, we'll fire the conversion. So in this example, we're going to be doing this for Calendly. So if someone fills out my Calendly event, after that, they'll land on this thank you page, and that will fire the conversion event. If you're doing this with Calendly, you need the standard or higher paid plan, and you also need a dedicated page for someone to land on after they complete the Calendly form. And you can create conversions for other actions, but we're going to keep it simple. This is mostly going to apply to people that have a form on their website. So if someone submits that form and they land on a thank you page, we'll be able to track that. And when you're setting up conversion tracking, you'll see there's two different attribution models you can select. Again, we're going to go through the setup for our conversion tracking in Campaign Manager, but there's last touch each campaign, last touch last campaign. Last touch last campaign just means that the campaign that the user last interacted with is going to get the credit. So if a user saw a few different ad formats from you and clicked on a few different ad formats from a few different campaigns, the last campaign in that interaction is going to get credit for the conversion. So if they submit the form, in this example, campaign 3 is going to get the credit. If you use the each campaign attribution model, it's going to give credit to each campaign that was involved in that interaction. So if they first came in, clicked on a single image ad, a week later they clicked on a video ad, and then on the third week they clicked another image ad in a remarketing campaign and then submitted a form. Each of these campaigns in the each campaign model would get attribution, which can be helpful to understand the full journey in which campaigns in which ads are leading to conversions. And this is a little more granular, so don't worry about this too much, but I'll show you how to create the conversion actions for both of these. And for budget and bidding, you want to make sure your daily budget is proportional to your audience size. So if you have a really small audience, you want to have, a relatively smaller budget compared to if you have a really large audience. You want to have a larger budget to make sure you're getting reach and getting in front of the users. So in this example, say you have an audience size of 500, a $10 per day budget would work for retargeting. And you'll just want to keep an eye on the frequency and how fast that builds, as well as if you have a larger audience, say you have a ton of traffic coming from Google search and you're creating these retargeting audiences, you can use a larger budget to stay in front of those users. With both of these, you want to monitor your reach and ad frequency. So ad frequency is the amount of times a user is seeing an ad. So you want to make sure you're rotating in different creatives so a user is not getting hit with the same ad over and over. We'll go into some frequency ranges in a little bit, but with both of these scenarios, you just want to keep an eye on reach and frequency. And then I always recommend using manual bidding and optimizing for clicks in the campaigns that we're going to set up here. And I also recommend setting a low bid. So when you're setting up the bid, you'll see that LinkedIn gives you some recommended ranges. You could always start below those recommended ranges and incrementally increase your bid if you're not spending your daily budget. So say you put $50 per day for your budget and you set a low bid and you notice you're only spending like $30 per day, you can incrementally increase that bid until you're hitting $50 per day. And you'll typically see lower CPCs and CPMs using this method compared to using the other bid strategy options, like maximum delivery, which is going to try to spend all of your daily budget and typically has higher CPCs. So I always recommend starting off with manual bidding in your campaigns. So now we're going to go over a few important settings that you always want to check before you launch your campaigns. So the first one is location targeting. There's two options in this drop down here. There's permanent location or recent or permanent location. By default, your campaign is going to be set to recent or permanent location. I always recommend switching to permanent location. That way you're only targeting people that live or work in the locations that you set. If you use recent or permanent location, you could be targeting people that are temporarily visiting the locations that you set. So if you're targeting the USA, you could have international travelers being targeted because they're temporarily in the USA. So I always recommend using permanent location there. An important thing to check out is the and versus or selections in your audience targeting. So if you're targeting multiple LinkedIn attributes like company, interest, job titles, if you're using or statements in between those, you could be making your audience size a lot larger than you intended. So most of the time you're narrowing down your audience. So you're doing, I want to target this company size and people that have this job title. But if you do these company sizes or job titles, you're really targeting a much larger audience than you want. So always make sure when you're doing your audience targeting to make sure you're using the and or selections appropriately. And then for audience expansion, especially with retargeting, I always turn off enable audience expansion. Since we're going to be retargeting visitors, we don't want LinkedIn to expand that beyond people that visited our website. I always keep this off even when I'm doing prospecting. We just want to be targeting the attributes that we select, and we don't want to give LinkedIn any flexibility to expand that audience. So I always recommend unchecking that. And then for the LinkedIn Audience Network, I always recommend turning off the LinkedIn Audience Network. The LinkedIn Audience Network is our third-party placements, so mobile apps and websites that your ads could show on. There's a lot of bot traffic and a lot of low-quality traffic that comes from the LinkedIn Audience Network. So in all my accounts, I always recommend turning it off. So make sure to uncheck the LinkedIn Audience Network. And a note on lead gen forms. So if you're running a lead gen form, you can download your leads. If you go into the assets section, lead gen forms, select the time range that you want, then select the form and then click download leads. That's how you can access those leads. You can also integrate LinkedIn ads with the CRM. So if you're using like HubSpot, you can integrate that so your leads are automatically going into your CRM. So once you're running your ads, you want to monitor the performance. So what I typically look at is at the demographics data. This will show you which job titles, which users are seeing your ads, just to validate the right users are seeing your ads. And if you need to make any exclusions, you can. So you can optimize your campaigns by adding in, job title exclusions, company exclusions. So it's always important to keep an eye on the demographics data. And then directional metrics that are good to keep an eye on are your click-through rate, engagement rate, your CPCs, your CPMs, the average dwell time, the average frequency. So those are all good directional metrics to monitor performance. And then lower funnel metrics would be things like leads, your conversion rates, your cost per lead, opportunities, closed deal, your customer acquisition costs. So those are other important metrics too to keep an eye on. How are your landing pages converting? In this example, we'll just focus on monitoring. I'll show you where to go to monitor the metrics within LinkedIn ads. And then you can also look at performance by different segments as well, especially in the demographics data. You can look at the job industry, the industries, the job functions, the companies that are engaging with your ads. We'll look at this in the campaign manager, but once you're running your campaigns, you can click the demographics button and you'll see demographics by the different attribute that you select. So you can select companies and you can see the impressions and clicks for companies. And for performance, there's different columns that you can filter on. So in this example here, we're filtered on delivery. So we can see the average frequency, which is showing how often a member is seeing the ad. So for this campaign over a 30-day period, members have seen an ad on average 10 times, and you can see the frequency by ad. So they're seeing each ad about 3 times. I like to keep the frequency over a 30-day period around 2 to 3. That's kind of what I'm currently working off of. So once your ad frequency starts to get, around 2 to 3, you're going to want to swap in different ads to avoid users seeing the same ad and getting ad fatigue. So that's why it's great if you have multiple assets, like multiple testimonials, case studies, different things that you can put in front of your audience to build that trust and credibility for your retargeting audience. So your campaign frequency can be higher, but at an ad level, I recommend keeping it around 2 to 3. And here's an example of filtering on the engagement metrics. So you can see the average click-through rate, the average dwell time, and again, you can filter on a time range. So these are all important metrics to keep an eye on, see how people are engaging with your ad. If there are any lower click-through rate ads, like you can see this is a small sample size, but compared to this ad, which has a 1.13 click-through rate, and this one has a 0.2, you can consider, maybe pausing this ad or mixing in another ad there. So those were a few performance notes. So I first wanted to cover all those slides. Again, I'm going to show you all the slides that we covered, how to see those things within LinkedIn Ads Campaign Manager. So in the next portion of this video, we're going to go into creating the LinkedIn Ads account, setting up the insight tag, setting up conversion tracking, our campaigns, and go into everything in detail. Again, use the chapters below if you want to skip to certain sections, and let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. So now we're going to get started with creating our LinkedIn Ads account. All right, so now we're going to create our LinkedIn Ads account. So you're going to want to log into your LinkedIn profile. Then at the top of your profile, you'll see your profile image, and then you'll see a For Business icon. You're going to click that drop down, and then you're going to look for advertise on LinkedIn or advertise. For me, I've already set up some accounts, so I see advertise here, but you're going to click advertise on LinkedIn. That's going to pull up this marketing solutions page. So you'll click get started. So your screen probably looks a little different from mine. Since I already have access to other ad accounts, it brought me right into the Campaign Manager account. But you might see a screen where it says to add an account name and select your currency. So you can set that up and it'll bring you into the Campaign Manager account after that. For me, I'm going to click this drop down and I'm going to click plus new account. So I'm going to add a new account, and then I'm going to call mine Mitchell's ad account demo. And I'm going to set up the USD currency, and then I'm going to associate to my LinkedIn page. So kindly B2B agency, just for an example. You can link to a company page that you have super admin access. So it says optional, but to run ads on LinkedIn, you will need to associate it with a company page. So I associate a company page that I have access to, and then I'll click create account. So then you'll come into your Campaign Manager account. It gives you a campaign group. You can just turn this off. There's no campaigns in there. And then we're going to go to the account settings to add our billing information. So under account settings, this is where you can add users. If you go to manage access, you can add additional users to your account. You can set up the billing. You can edit your account if you want to change the name. And you could also add URL parameters, which I'll show you how to do. But first, we're going to go into the billing section and we're going to add our credit card. So I'm going to click add credit card. First, it's going to ask me for my business information, so I'll enter that in here. Then I'll click save. Now I'm going to add my billing information, so I'm going to add my credit card. Then I'll click review order. So my credit card has been added, and then I'll click agree and launch campaign. There's no campaigns actually being launched here, but that will add your billing, your credit card there. So if you ever need to adjust your credit card, you can go into the billing and click manage credit card, and you'll see yourself as a billing admin. Now I'll show you how to add URL parameters. You can add these at the account, campaign, or ad level. I suggest adding it to the account level. So I'll go ahead and paste this here. And I've added UTM underscore source equals LinkedIn, and UTM medium equals CPC, and UTM campaign equals, this will dynamically fill in the campaign that was triggered if a user clicks on it and visits the landing page. And then we have UTM content. Now this is a little more granular. You can use the chapter section to review the UTM parameters, but this will just pass additional data if you're using third-party tools like Google Analytics 4, GA4, or if you're passing info when people submit a lead on your website. So this is what I typically add. Now this might be confusing if you're not familiar with UTM tracking parameters. This is optional. It's not going to hurt anything if you don't do it. It just gives you some additional visibility if you're using other tools. So I'll go ahead and click save here. And now we're going to add the LinkedIn Insight tag to our WordPress website. We're going to be doing this through Google Tag Manager. So first we're going to add Google Tag Manager to our website, and then we'll add the LinkedIn Insight tag to Google Tag Manager. So if you haven't created a Google Tag Manager account, you can go to Google Tag Manager and set up your account with your Gmail account. And then once you're in your Google Tag Manager, I'm going to create a new account because I already have access to other accounts. So I'll click create account. So I gave this a name, Mitchell's Demo Account, and then we have country as United States. And then for container, I added in my domain here, so mitchellcool.com, and this is a website, so we'll select web, and then we'll click create. And then we're going to accept the terms and policies and click yes. Now this is the code snippet that we have to add to our WordPress website. So there's a code snippet for the head section, and that will add into the body section. If you accidentally click out of that, you can click the container ID right here and that will populate it. You can also go into the admin section and go into install Google Tag Manager, and that will pull up that snippet of code. So I'm going to go back into our workspace here, and I'll click the container ID, and we're going to copy this code for the head section. Then we're going to go into our WordPress website. If you are using a different website builder, I have a full tracking list for Squarespace, Webflow, a lot of different website builders on how to install the Insight tag, so you can follow those if you're not using WordPress. I'm in my WordPress dashboard for my website. Then I'm going to go into the plugins section, and then I'll click add new plugin. And we're going to search for a plugin, so it's called Insert Headers and Footers. So we'll search for that. And then we're going to select Insert Headers and Footers, so I'll click Install Now. And then I'm going to click Activate once it's installed. So then we can go to the Settings section, and we'll go to WordPress Headers and Footers here, and we'll click into this new plugin that we just installed. And then for the scripts in the header, we're going to paste the code snippet that we got from Google Tag Manager. So again, we copied this snippet of code that's in the head section, and then we pasted it in here. And then we need to copy the snippet of code that goes into the body section. So we'll copy that, go back into our plugin here, and we'll paste that script into the body. And then we'll go ahead and click Save Changes. So those changes have been saved. Now we'll go back into Google Tag Manager, and we're going to click Preview, and this will just verify if Google Tag Manager is on our website. So we'll add our domain name here, and then we'll click Connect. And then we'll go back into the Tag Assistant tab and click Continue. And you can see our container ID, there's one tag found on this website here. So we know that the container was successfully installed onto our WordPress website. Now from here, we're going to add the LinkedIn Insight tag to Google Tag Manager. So we'll go back into Google Tag Manager into the workspace section here, and we're going to click Tags. And now we're going to go back into our LinkedIn Ads account. We're going to go to the Analyze section and go to Sources. And then we're going to click Insight Tag. And we're going to accept the terms and policies here. So we'll click Proceed. Then we're going to click the Insight tag where it says Unverified here. And we're going to scroll down, and we're going to install this using Google Tag Manager. So we'll click that, and we're going to copy our partner ID here. So copy that partner ID. Then we'll go into Google Tag Manager again. Now we're going to set up our LinkedIn Insight tag here. So we'll click New. We're going to set up a new tag. We'll call this the LinkedIn Insight tag. We'll click Tag Configuration. And we're going to click Discover More Tag Types in the Community Template Gallery. Then we're going to click Search, and we're going to search for LinkedIn. So you're going to want to look for LinkedIn Insight Tag 2.0, select that, and then click Add to Workspace. And then we'll click Add. Now I added the LinkedIn Insight Tag 2.0 tag type to our tag configuration. Now we're going to paste that partner ID that we copied from the LinkedIn Insight tag setup. So We have the partner ID that we copied right there, and we pasted it into the partner ID field. Now we want this tag to trigger on all pages of our website, so we'll click the triggering box and we'll select all pages, and then we're going to click save. So this tag is going to fire on all pages. Then next, again, we can click preview, and that's going to connect to our website, and we'll click continue. And you can see that the tag has fired, so it's showing that it's fired, which is great on our website. Now we just have to publish this change live onto our website. So we'll go back into our workspace here, and we see our tag, and next to preview, we're going to click submit. So we're going to submit this change so it's live on our website. You can just give this a descriptive name like added insight tag, and then you can click publish, and this will make the changes and make it go live on our website. So one last step for verification, because we want to make sure that this is actually on our website. We'll go back to our website here. We'll refresh our website, and you can download this Google Chrome extension. It's called the Insight Tag Checker. It's by the B2B House. So you'll want to download this free Chrome extension, then go to your website, and this is how you can easily verify if the LinkedIn Insight tag is installed on your website. You'll go to that Chrome extension and click that, and then click inspect, and then we can see our partner ID here. So that partner ID matches the one that we copied and added to Google Tag Manager. So we verified that the LinkedIn Insight tag is on our website. We can go back into the LinkedIn Ads Campaign Manager, and in the sources section, now the Insight tag says unverified. Give that a few minutes. It sometimes takes a little bit for it to go to active since we just added it to our website. So now the next step is to create our retargeting audiences. We added the Insight tag. That's going to allow us to start building our retargeting audiences. So we're going to go into the plan section, click audiences, and then under the match tab, we're going to click create audience, and we're going to select match audience. So again, here are all the retargeting options. In this video, we're going to focus on website visitors. So we'll click website, and we'll click next. And we're going to give our audience a name. Again, you can refer to the chapters to see my naming convention. So I like to use the type of audience it is, a website visitors, which pages we're creating this for. If it's for the whole website, I say all, and then the time period they engaged. So we're going to create this for all the time frames available. So we're going to start with the 14 days, and then we're going to give it a name here. So website visitors, all pages, 14 days. You can spell that out. You can use any naming convention you like. Just make sure you know when you review all the audiences you've created, you can easily tell which one it is. And now we'll select the pages that we want this retargeting audience to be created from. So match a URL that contains, I always like to use the contains, and then we're going to add in our domain. And I leave off www dot and anything after, so this is going to capture all pages on our domain. So we have contains mitchellgould.com, and then we'll click next step, and then we'll click agree and create. And if you want to edit the name, you can always go back and click edit. I'm going to add D there for 14 days so I know it's for that. I usually do shorthand here, so I'll click next step, agree and update, and that's all there. So again, you're going to go through and create these for all those buckets. It's good to have all the data for those different time frames. So we'll go to websites, next. The next one is 30 days. We'll take our naming convention there, and then contains mitchellgould.com, click next step, agree and create, and we have that there. So I'm going to go ahead and create the rest of those. So I created the rest of those audience buckets. Again, in this audience, it's going to be anyone that visited our website, and then they're going to stay in that bucket for 14 days. On day 15, they're going to drop out of that bucket, but they will still be in all these other retargeting audiences. So you can use these for different strategies, but it's always good to have them set up because they're not retroactive. So I always like to set everything up right when I create my account. And also important note that the minimum audience size for a LinkedIn audience is 300 members. So depending on how much website traffic you get, it can take some time for those audiences to build. If you have a lot of traffic coming to your site, it might take a week or two for you to get above that 300 minimum. So just keep that in mind that it can take some time for these to build depending on the traffic to your website. And like I mentioned, you can create retargeting audiences for specific pages. So we'll go through another example here for match audiences, and we'll select website, and we're going to call this website visitors audience. It's for a thank you page and anyone in the last 180 days. So I know from my website, if a user lands on the thank you page, that means they filled out the form and they converted. So if I want to exclude anyone who's converted from my campaigns, I can create this website visitors retargeting audience, and I can exclude that from my campaigns. So in this case, we're going to do 180 days. So they stay in this audience for 180 days. That's the max length available. And then we're going to use contains, and then we're going to add the page path for the thank you page. So I know if anyone lands on this thank you page, they converted, and I can choose to exclude this from my campaigns. So that's one way to also use retargeting audiences for potential exclusions. One more example is if you have a lot of traffic coming from a particular source and you're using UTM parameters. So say you're running Google Ads and you're using parameters in your search campaigns, you can click create audience, do a matched audience, again, do website visitors, and we'll call this one website visitors coming from Google Ads in the last 180 days here, just as an example. So if anyone visited our website and they also came from our Google Ads campaigns and you're using specific parameters there, so you're using UTM underscore source equals Google, as well as let's do UTM underscore medium equals CPC. So say I'm running Google search ads and we have UTM parameters on those Google search campaigns. So when someone clicks a URL on those ads, they also have these parameters in the URL. So I know when someone visits our website and also comes from Google, a source of Google and a medium, a UTM medium of CPC, I know they came from Google Ads. You can create a retargeting audience just for that traffic. So this can be good if you want to retarget a particular channel. Just keep in mind that you'll need to have a lot of traffic here to make sure you can get above that 300 member audience size minimum. So I'm going to click next step here, click agree and create. And those are just two additional ways that you can create website visitor retargeting audiences. Again, these are going to start to build. They're not retroactive, so they're going to start collecting members from today onward. So that's how you create your website visitors retargeting audiences. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, there are a lot of other options to retarget by, so I suggest utilizing those. We're just focusing on creating website visitor retargeting audiences in today's video. But that's how you go about creating them. Now we're going to go into conversion tracking. So to set up conversion tracking, we're going to go to the Analyze section here, and we're going to select Conversion Tracking. And then we're going to click Create Conversion, and we'll select Insight Tag Conversion. So we're going to create a conversion based off of a page view. In my case, if a user submits this Calendly meeting, they land on a thank you page. So if they book a call here, they'll land on a thank you page. And I want to know every time a user lands on that thank you page, and that will count as a conversion event. So in my case, I'm going to call this schedule a Calendly meeting, and we're going to set this conversion up twice. In one instance, we're going to use the last touch each campaign attribution model, and in the other instance, we're going to use the last touch last campaign model. So I'll select that now, and I denoted the conversion action name for last. When we use last touch last campaign, this is just going to give credit to the campaign that the user interacted with before they converted. So we'll select that. And then we're going to select, we can call this book appointment. You can give it a category that suits you. So you can call it a lead. I'm going to call it a booked appointment here. And then for the value here, we won't go too into this, but I like to give more value to the conversion actions from the last touch last campaign, since we know it was the last touch they had before they converted. So I gave it a value of $25. We're going to just give it more value than when we set up the last touch each campaign, because it's more valuable for us to know which was the last campaign someone interacted with before they converted. And then we're going to keep the conversion window at 30 days click and 7 days view. You can adjust this here for both of these. This just tells you after someone engaged with an ad, so if they clicked an ad and they convert within 30 days, it's going to be tracked. If they convert on day 40 here, they won't get tracked in your campaign. You can make this window larger or smaller if you like. I like to keep it around 30 days here. And then for the view through window, this is if they didn't click on the ad, but they just viewed the ad and then maybe they went to your website and they converted, the campaign will get credit for that in the view through conversion window here. So we'll keep that at 7 days here, and then we'll click next step. And then we're going to use the manual conversion setup, and we're going to use it for page load. So when a user visits a specific page, we're going to have this conversion action fire, and we'll select contains here. Then we'll add in our page here. So we have mitchellgould.com/thank you. So I know if they visited this thank you page, I know that they filled out this Calendly event here and they booked a call. So we'll click next step here, and then we'll click create. Now we're going to create the same conversion action. We're just going to use the each attribution model here. So we'll go ahead and click Insight Tag Conversion. We'll give it the same name, but denote it as each, and we'll give it last touch each campaign. So the last touch each campaign model is going to give attribution to each of the campaigns that a user interacted with before they converted. So again, when you use last touch, it's only giving credit to the last campaign the user interacted with before they converted. But if you use each campaign, each of them will get credit, which can be helpful to understand, which campaigns assisted in the conversion action actually happening. So here we're going to select again booked appointment, and we're going to give this a lower dollar value. I assign a higher dollar value to the last touch last campaign attribution model, and we're going to keep the 30-day click and 7-day view window. We'll click next step here. We're going to set up the manual conversion again, page load and contains, and then we're going to add our thank you page. So added the thank you page there, and then we'll click next step. And then we'll click create. It says unverified, but it should go to active once users start visiting that page. So again, the flow here, if someone clicks book a call, they come to this Calendly event, they select a time, and then they fill out this form. After they schedule the event, they'll land on this thank you page. Now we have conversion tracking set up, so we know if they landed on this page. So to set this up in Calendly, so after they fill out the form that they redirect to a thank you page, you'll need to log into your Calendly and go to the event. You will need a paid subscription for this. So I'm on this calendar here, and you go to the booking page options and scroll down. You'll see the confirmation page. So after the booking, you want it to redirect to an external site, and then you're going to add in your URL. So after someone fills out that form, instead of just seeing a Calendly message, you'll have it redirect to that URL. Then click save and close, and that's how I have it set up on my website. So that allows for easier conversion tracking because we can base it off of the URL. So now we're going to go into the campaign creation process. So again, we're going to be creating 3 different campaigns here. 2 of them will use the website visits campaign objective. 1 will use the lead gen objective, and then we're going to be using text ads and single image ads in these examples here. So we're going to go back into our campaign manager account. We're going to go to the advertise section, and we're going to click create campaign group. So I'll select campaign group. And for reference, here is the naming convention I use. Again, you just want to use something so you understand what campaigns are running and you can easily navigate your account. This is more important for big accounts. But we're going to call this the campaign group retargeting, and we're going to have our 3 campaigns sit within that campaign group, and then all of our ads will be in each of the individual campaigns. So we'll go back into campaign manager and we'll call this campaign group retargeting. And then we're going to turn off the group objective. The group objective just makes, if you select a group objective here, it's going to make each campaign use that objective. But I like to be able to have multiple different objectives within one campaign group. So I'm going to turn that off. and then I'm going to click create. Next, we're going to select that retargeting campaign group that we just created, and I selected it, so now I'm inside that campaign group when you select it. So you'll be able to see all the campaigns within the campaign group you selected. Then we'll click create and we'll select campaign. So now we're going to create a text ad campaign, and we'll click next, and we're going to give this a name. Again, I'm using this naming convention here so I can understand how my campaigns are set up. So in this naming here, I know it's a retargeting campaign. I know we're going to be using the website visits objective, targeting the US. It's only going to be showing on LinkedIn, not on the LinkedIn audience network. This is the audience we're going to be targeting, the website visitors 90-day audience. And I know the ad format is a text ad. So when I look at this campaign from a high level, I know exactly what's being targeting and how it's set up. So next, you're going to select your objective for the campaign. We'll select website visits. So next, we're going to set up our audience. So first, we want to update the location. Always make sure you're using permanent location here. So we're just targeting the US. And then we're going to go to where it says narrow and click that. And under the audiences section, we'll select that. And we're going to click retargeting. And we're going to scroll down and look for website. We'll select that. And we're going to select our website visitors 90-day audience. Again, in this example, the audience is still building. You will need time for the audience to build because it's not retroactive. So once you create your retargeting audience, it's going to need to build, and your overall audience is going to need to be over 300 members to be able to use in the campaign. But here we'll select it just to go through all the steps here. So you can narrow down the audience to make it smaller. So if you're targeting all your website visitors, you can then further qualify that traffic. If you click narrow, you can go to the audience attributes. Then you can narrow it down by different company attributes, company sizes, company revenue, company industries, and then as well as like job experience. So if you want to narrow it down by job functions, job seniorities, job titles. So you can use those different attributes to narrow and qualify your retargeting audience. In this example, I'm going to be using exclusions. So I'm going to click exclude. So we're going to be targeting anyone who visited our website in the last 90 days, but we're going to exclude certain criteria. So again, some good exclusions to use is to exclude anyone who's a current client, any of your competitors, industries, irrelevant industries, seniority levels, anyone that already converted, any potential opportunities you're working on, you can exclude those. So we'll go in here and we're going to go into the audience attributes section, click company and company name. And just as an example, let's say some of our competitors are Microsoft. So if you type in Microsoft there, you can exclude them. Maybe one of our competitors is Apple, just as an example here. We'll exclude them. Maybe it's SAP here. So you can exclude competitors because sometimes competitors are visiting your website, taking a look around. So we're going to exclude anyone who has a current job at these companies. And you can also exclude your current clients. So say HubSpot is our current client and we don't want to show our ads to them. You can add those exclusions. You can also, instead of adding it at a name-by-name basis, you can go into the Audiences tab here and select List Upload and select Company List. And you can upload a company list to exclude. I have a video on how to upload company list. That's a quicker way if you have, a competitor list, if you have a current company list, if you have, current opportunities, to just exclude those by uploading a list so you don't have to do it company name by company name. So I'll leave a link in the description on how to upload a company list. And then say we want to make more exclusions here. So we'll go to audience attributes. Again, we'll go into the company here and we'll go into company industries and we'll type in staffing. So we want to exclude anyone who's in staffing and recruiting. We can go into audience attributes and select job experience. So we'll select job at seniorities, and we want to exclude any lower level seniority levels because maybe people are just visiting our website interested in jobs. You can always exclude, set up a retargeting audience for like the careers page and just exclude anyone who visited the careers page if that's not in your strategy. We'll go to job experience here again, and we'll select job titles and we'll exclude students. So anyone who's a student, we'll exclude them. So I'll click close here so we can see how our audience is defined here. We're targeting the US, anyone who visited our website in the last 90 days, but we're excluding people that work at these companies, are in this industries, have these job seniorities, or are a student. So those are all or selections. One thing to keep in mind when you're creating your audience, and say you set up your website visitors, and then you're here and you click audience attributes and you click company because you want to narrow it down by company size. Maybe you only want to target people within 50 to 200. As you can see here, it has an or selection. So that means we're targeting anyone who's a website visitor or they have a company size. So if we click close there, that's not how we want to target this audience because this is a lot larger. It's saying anyone who visits our website or this company size. What we want here is an and selection. So just be mindful of and or selections. Sometimes people mistakenly use or selections when they think they're narrowing down their audience, but they're actually making it bigger. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to just remove that for this example here. And then for enable audience expansion, like I mentioned earlier, I always recommend keeping that off. We don't want LinkedIn to expand this beyond the attributes that we selected. And what you can do here after you create this retargeting audience, you can save this audience so you can easily recreate it in other campaigns. So we're going to click save audience here and we're going to call this retargeting. And that will save that audience. So now instead of building that audience again, we can just select that when we create other campaigns. In this example, we're creating a text campaign. So we'll go ahead and select text as our ad format. And then we're using the UTM parameters from our account level. So no adjustment needed there. And text ads only show on desktop, so they're not available on the LinkedIn Audience Network, which is good. I always deselect that, but it's already deselected. Then in this example, we're just going to set the budget to $10 per day. And then we're going to go to the bidding here and we're optimizing for landing page clicks. Make sure we're optimizing for that. And we're going to set our bid to the lowest level here, which is $2. So that's the lowest you can do for the text campaign. And we have a daily budget of $10. So as I mentioned, text ads have very low click-through rates. So they don't get clicked a lot. They show on desktop and they're really good for getting a lot of impressions for a low amount of spend. So I have a low daily budget here and I'm just setting it at the floor bid of $2. Next, we'll go into conversion tracking. So for the conversions, I'm going to select both of them. So if anyone converts and there's any attribution associated with this campaign, we'll know that. So I'll select those and then we'll click next and then we'll click save. So now we're going to create our text ad. So we'll click create new ad. And the ad consists of a image, an ad headline, a description, and a URL. I have this document here that I'll put in the description to help you draft out these different text ads. So there are character limits. The character limit for the headline is 25 characters. The description can't be longer than 75 characters. Again, they consist of the image, the description, and the headline, and the text ad is clickable to a URL. So I'm going to copy the text here into this just to make it easy here. So I drafted these out. Now I'll put them in for the ad description. This is the URL we're going to use for this one here. And for the image, I'm going to use the company page logo. So I added an image there so you can see the example of it here. Has the logo, has free B2B ads audit as the headline. If you click it, it's going to go to this URL and then we have that description. So everything's within the character limits. Then we'll click save ad. So it created our first text ad here. Then you can select the text ad and you can click duplicate and then you can add in other variations here. So I'll select the next variation and I'll just update this ad here. I'm using a testimonial in this example here and it's going to my home page. So we'll go here, update all of that, then click save ad. Now we have two variations and you can continue to duplicate this out and add in more variations. I like to add quite a few text ad variations because they get a lot of impressions, so the frequency can build pretty quickly. So it's always good to add in quite a few different variations here. They're pretty easy because you're just drafting text. You're not creating any images. So we'll go ahead and click save here, and we have 3 versions there, so you can continue to add text ads. Then we're going to click next here. So we're going to review our campaign. So we have the campaign group retargeting. We have the campaign details. We're using the website visits objective. We're targeting the US and people that visited our website in the last 90 days. And we're excluding anyone with these job seniorities, these titles, these companies in this company industry here. We disabled the audience expansion. We have the text ad format. Text ads don't show on the LinkedIn audience network, so we're good there. We have a daily budget. We're using manual bidding with the lowest bid possible of $2. We have the conversion actions selected, and then we create our ads. So the next step here is to launch your campaign. So we'll click launch campaign, and then we'll exit out of that. So you can see the campaign is on. Now again, it says not delivering, audience too small. That's because I just created these retargeting audiences and they're not retroactive. So it does take some time depending on how much website traffic you have coming to your website for those audiences to build. So keep that in mind. You can always turn this campaign off. And then once your audience size gets large enough, you can see that in the plan audiences section and review your audience sizes. You can then re-enable your campaigns once those audiences are large enough. So the next campaign that we're going to create is a single image ad campaign using the website visits objective. We're going to show some testimonial ads. So if someone visits our website, we're going to be putting some testimonials in front of them to help build that trust and credibility. So we're in the campaign section. So we're going to click create campaign. And we're going to select our campaign group. So we're going to select the retargeting campaign group that we already set up. And then we're going to click next here. And then we're going to select the website visits objective. We're going to give it a name. So I'm using my naming convention here. You can use any naming convention. Again, you can watch earlier in the video where I go over how I set up my naming convention. So I have this campaign name here. We're targeting website visits. Then we'll scroll down here and we saved our audience from earlier. So instead of creating the audience like I did when we created the text ad campaign, we're going to use that same audience, which was called the retargeting audience, which we saved. So we'll go ahead and select that as a saved audience. And you can see it pulled in all that information from the audience we set up earlier in the text ad campaign. So we have United States, our retargeting 90-day visitor audience, and then those exclusions. We always want to make sure to turn off enable audience expansion. And then we're going to scroll down here and we're going to be using the single image ad format in this example. Our UTM parameters are already pulled in from the account level. This is again just additional option if you want to look at tracking in other platforms. It is optional. And then we'll scroll down here. Important here, we want to turn off the LinkedIn audience network. We don't want our ads to be showing on third-party websites. We just want them to be showing on LinkedIn. So we're going to keep that off. I always recommend keeping that off because the quality on the LinkedIn audience network is pretty low. And for our daily budget, again, you can review earlier in the video where I went over kind of how to approach budget and bidding. But in this example, we're just going to set it at the lowest possible daily budget here for $10. Since we're going to have a pretty small audience size for my website. And then we're going to go to the bidding section and instead of using maximum delivery, we're going to select manual bidding. And then we're going to select the lowest bid says $5.40. So I'm going to go a bit lower than that and I'm going to say $3.40. And I'm going to turn off enable bid adjustments for high value clicks. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, we're going to keep an eye on if we spend this full $10 each day. If we don't, I'm going to incrementally increase this manual bid here. This typically results in lower CPCs and CPMs compared to if you were to use another bid strategy like maximum delivery or cost cap. So we'll select manual bidding there. And then we have our conversion action selected. You can see they went to the active status now that they've had some time to propagate. So we'll go to next and we'll create our ads. We'll click save. Then we'll click create new ads. And for my ad names, I like to use the same campaign name and just denote what ad variation it is. So this is T1. This is just shorthand for me for I know it's a testimonial ad and it's the first version here. And then we're going to add in our introductory text, our destination URL. So I'm going to go back into my sheet here where I already drafted the copy. So again, when you have single image ads, you have the intro text that shows above the ad, you have the image, you have the headline, and you can choose a CTA. And then as well as you can have the URL you want to link to. So just keep in mind there are different character limits here. So I put a checker here. 150 is where it will start to truncate. So you can go on over 150 characters in your introductory text, but it might truncate depending on what device the person is viewing the ad on, as well as the headline. You can go over 70 characters, but it might start to truncate and cut off some of it depending on the device. So just a few notes there. So you can use this to help build out your draft your copy, add in your URLs, select the call to action that you're going to use in your single image ad, and then just some notes on the size of the actual creative. So I'm going to go through here now and pull in the introductory text that I drafted out. So go here, just paste that in. We'll use this URL in this example. Paste that in, go into the headline. We're going to be using this headline here. And for the description, you can leave this off. This is if you're running your ads on the audience network, which we're not going to be doing. So I'm keeping that off. And then I selected the learn more call to action here. So now we're going to add our ads. So we can select upload, and then we're going to upload our images. So I'm uploading 2 images, these 2 files here. So I'll click add to library. And I'm gonna upload them and select them at the same time. So I have both of these selected. So this will just streamline the process for creating the ads here. So I have these 2 ads selected. You can give them some alt text. So I'm gonna just, in this example, just call it testimonial ad, but a lot of times I'll give it a little descriptor and I'll put in the overlaid copy for the ad in the alt text. That is just optional there. And you can see the preview, so you can see what it looks like on desktop for the different ads that we uploaded and for mobile. So you can see the version of what this would look like on mobile. You can see what the other version with the different color looks like. So we'll go ahead and click save ad. And when we save that, that's going to create the 2 ads that we uploaded. So I'm going to just adjust the name here. We're going to call that one T1, testimonial 1, and then testimonial 2. So again, I just like this taxonomy so I know which version of the ad is running. This is more important when you have really large accounts. And then one setting we're going to adjust here is, since we're retargeting people, we want them to make sure they're seeing different variations. Instead of optimizing for the best performing ad here, we're going to have these ads rotate evenly. I didn't do this on the text ad campaign earlier, but I would update that too, to just have your ads rotate evenly. I like to have the ads rotate evenly for retargeting because we're putting different, educational, trust and credibility content in front of them. So if you have multiple, case studies and testimonials, you want those to rotate evenly so they're seeing the different trust and credibility content from you. And then we can click next here. And again, this is where you review your campaign settings before you launch. So our campaign group, retargeting, we can review all our settings here for our target audience, single image ad, make sure we have the LinkedIn audience network disabled, and we have the audience expansion disabled. We see our daily budget, our bid amount, our conversion tracking, then we'll click launch campaign, and then we can see our campaign here. So again, we have our text campaign, we have our single image campaign targeting the all visitors 90-day audience. Again, the audience, I just created these retargeting audiences and they're not retroactive, so they still need time to build. That's why it says the audience is too small. For now, I'm going to just pause this campaign, but once that audience size gets large enough, you can enable the campaign. Again, depending on the amount of traffic you have coming to your website, it may take some time for those retargeting audiences to build. All right, so now we're going to set up the last campaign, which is going to be a lead gen objective campaign. So we'll go ahead and click create campaign, and then we're going to select a campaign group that we already created. So we'll click select group and we'll select the retargeting campaign group. Then we'll click next, and then we'll give it a name. And you can reference earlier in the video if you're curious about how I go about this naming convention here. So we're going to select the lead gen objective here. Then we're going to scroll down and we're going to use the saved audience that we created in our other campaigns. So it's the retargeting saved audience. We'll select OK. This updated our audience. So we're retargeting these website visitors. We're excluding some criteria here like lower seniority level, student job titles, some company names. We're going to turn off the enable audience expansion. I always recommend turning that off. We're going to use the single image ad format. So if a user clicks the image, it's going to pull up a lead gen form. And then the UTM parameters, I explained those earlier in the video. If you want to go back and check that out, that is optional here. So no adjustment needed there. When you're using the lead gen campaign objective, your ads won't show on the audience network. So that's already disabled, which is good. So we don't need to make any adjustments there. And then we're going to give this a budget, say, of $30 a day in this example. And feel free to reference earlier in the video about how I would approach budget and bidding. So we'll say $30 there. And then we're going to optimize, in this case, not for leads here. We want to be charged per click. So we're going to select clicks here. And then for manual bidding, we can see the lowest bid says $5.76. So we're going to go a little below that, say $3.65. And then if we're not spending our full daily budget each day, we're going to incrementally increase that manual bid. So you always want to make sure you're watching performance and seeing how your campaigns are spending. But we're going to start off with the lowest bid so we can try to get the lowest CPCs available on LinkedIn. And for conversion tracking, for all the campaigns, I always like to select the conversion actions just in case they interact with the ad. Maybe they open the lead gen form, but a few days later they go to our website and they fill out a form on the website. We want to be able to track that. So I have those conversion actions that we set up selected. Then we're going to go to next and click save. And we're going to create new ads here. So I'm going to give it my naming convention here. We're just adding on to the campaign name and giving the creative a name here. So this first one's going to be audit 1. So we're going to go into our sheet here where I have copy drafted. Again, it has the character limits here that I recommend staying within. So you can use this when you're drafting your ads. So this is a single image ad connected to a lead gen form. So I'm going to copy this introductory text, go back in here, paste that. Then I'm going to grab this URL here and we'll add that there to the destination URL. And then we're going to add a headline. So we'll go back in here, copy our headline, paste that there. And then we're going to upload our ads here. So I'm going to deselect those. I'll click upload. And I'm uploading 2 variations here. Everything is the same except the color is a little bit different. So I'm going to add those to the library. And I'm going to select both of those. So we're going to have 2 ads created from this. They're going to be using the same copy. It's just going to be different ad images. Again, you can use the preview here to see how these are going to look on mobile. When people are viewing this on a mobile device, is it easy for them to read and see? So just keep that in mind here. You can add in alt text. I usually give a description and add in what the copy says here. In this example, I'm just going to put get a free audit. And then we have our headline. And then I'm going to keep the description blank. I typically don't use this. You don't need this if your ads are showing in the LinkedIn feed. It's more if your ads are going to be showing on the LinkedIn Audience Network, but I don't recommend running your ads on the LinkedIn Audience Network. And then for the call to action, I selected learn more here. And then we're going to set up our form details. So I'll select form details here, and then we're going to select create a new form. And this is the form that's going to show after someone engages with that ad. So for the form name, we can call this free audit. Just give it a descriptive name. We want it to be English. Then we'll go into our lead gen forms tab here. We call it free audit, and we're going to use this headline here. And we'll select that. We're not going to upload an image. It should show part of the image that is on our single image ad, but we added in our headline here. And then for the details, we'll go ahead and copy that. Go into the details. This is just giving a little info about the offer and then some additional details there about the offer. And then this is where you select the form fields that you want. So you can come in here. So these are all the available options here. Of course, the more options you add, the more friction it adds, which can be a good or a bad thing. More friction typically leads to more quality leads. Less friction, you might get less qualified leads. But in this example, we're going to use first name, last name, email address, and the LinkedIn profile URL. So I'll go ahead and select those here, first, last name, email address, and then we'll search for profile, LinkedIn profile URL. We have those there. So we have email address, first, last name, LinkedIn profile. That was, yeah, everything I wanted there. And you can add custom questions here if you want to do that. You can also add hidden fields. So if you click add hidden field, it will be a field that the user won't see, but you can add in some data here. So this can be good if you're integrating with like your CRM like HubSpot to pass in some additional details about this. For this example, I'll leave that out. Some typical hidden fields that people use are UTM parameters. So like UTM source, UTM medium, UTM campaign that you can pass along with the form. But in this example, we'll just leave those off. You will have to add your privacy policy URL. So I'll go ahead and grab that here for mine, copy that. And then we'll paste that there. It's optional to add in privacy policy text, but I'll leave that off. You can add in disclosure checkboxes, but I'll leave that off as well. So now we're getting to the confirmation. So after someone clicks submit, it's going to go to the confirmation box here. So we have that drafted out as well. We're going to copy our confirmation message and we're going to add that there. And then for our call to action, we're going to use visit company website and have it go to our home page here. So we're saying thanks. We'll touch base with them shortly. And then if they want to visit the company website, that's where that link will go. So we drafted out our form here. Now we'll click agree and create. And that's going to add our form to these ads. So then we'll save the ads here. So that saved our ads. And again, since we added 2 images when we created that ad, it automatically creates 2 different ads using the same text, the same form. We just have those different images. It's a little more streamlined than creating the ads individually. You can always just going to adjust the names here. So we know that's the audit 1 version, audit 2. There's just a difference in color. You can always click here and duplicate an ad. Click duplicate, and then you can adjust anything and save it as a new ad. So just something to keep in mind there. For this example here, we're going to set rotate ads evenly. We want users to see both versions of these ads. So you can select optimize for performance or rotate ads evenly. Typically with retargeting, we're dealing with smaller audience sizes, so we want to rotate the different messaging in front of the audience. So I select rotate ads evenly there, and then we'll click next. And this is where we review all our campaign settings. So location, our target audience, we have the audience expansion disabled, daily budget, our bid amount, we have our ads, then we click launch campaign. Again, it says not delivering audience too small because with these campaigns, I use the retargeting audiences I created today, which aren't retroactive. So they're going to start building from today onward. I just use them in this example. So if your audiences aren't ready, you can pause your campaigns and keep an eye on your audiences in the plan section. Go in there and you can wait until your audiences get above that 300 member size. And then you can go back into advertise, go back into your campaign group where you can see all your campaigns, and then you can enable it when your audience size is ready. So that's how you set up your LinkedIn lead gen campaign. Now we created a text ad campaign, a single image ad campaign, and a lead gen single image ad campaign. So now we're going to go into how you can review performance. I'm going to show you how to navigate this section here. So again, we're on the advertise section. You can be on the campaign group section up here. You can click campaigns, the campaign tab, to see all the campaigns that you have running. You can also review things at the ad level. So we can see our single image ads, our text ads there. We can see the campaign it's associated with. So some important columns, we'll go back to the campaign group section. If you want to see different columns, you can select here. So performance is the standard columns. That's going to show you things like impressions, clicks, your average click-through rate, average CPM, conversions, leads. It's a pretty good high-level overview of different performance metrics. Another one that I like to monitor is delivery. This is where you're going to see how many members you're reaching with your audience and the average frequency, so how often they're seeing the ad. And again, you can refer to earlier in the video where I talk about average frequency a little more, but always a good idea to keep an eye on how often users are seeing your ad, making sure you're rotating in new ads so they're not getting ad fatigue. You can also go on to engagement, where you'll see things like average click-through rate again, average dwell time. So how long are they reviewing your ad within the LinkedIn feed? This is a newer metric that was added to LinkedIn Campaign Manager. Then you can also see reactions. So if someone liked your ad, you can see that there. If they end up doing any other like social interactions like sharing, you can see all that there. You can also see if they click to your LinkedIn company page. You can also go to conversions and leads. This is where you can see how many people opened up your lead form and then how many submitted. So some good metrics there. Those are the main columns I use. You can also use the breakdown to review things by different segments. So for conversions, if you select conversions and you set up multiple conversions, you'll be able to see which conversion action took place. So if we go over here, we can see, how many conversions came through. It will break it down so we can see which conversions came through. And you can see the click conversions, the view through conversions there, the conversion rate. Again, you can adjust the time frame. And then another important thing that you can do is you can select the individual campaign once you have data, and you can select demographics, and you can review performance by these different segments. So you can see how many impressions different job titles are getting, different companies. This can be helpful for your sales team if you're doing outreach. You can see these companies are getting impressions and interacting with your ads. You can adjust the columns to performance here. So this is really helpful for validating that your ads are getting in front of the right people. And if you need to make exclusions in your campaigns, you can use this data to help with that. And here's an example of actual account with some data in it. So for the time range that I'm filtered on, I'm on the conversions and leads column. So I can see for this campaign, there were 58 lead form opens and 4 people submitted leads here. So that's a 6.9 lead form completion rate. You can see the cost per lead there. This is just for a particular campaign. So that's just a few notes on performance, and it actually wraps up this course. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. We reviewed a lot of things and I know it can be overwhelming. So if you have any questions or any comments, just put them in the comment section. And take a look at the description of this video. I'll put in links for the other videos I mentioned throughout this course, as well as some of the sheets that we viewed in this course. So thanks again for watching and have a great day.